Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live show here at Movie Talk with PressPlay Cinema. Excuse my voice, it's early. I'm starting to get recovered from a little asthma episode. This cold around, it's. But today I am very proud to announce you guys one of my good friends. His name is Bryce Howard. He is established in the area of Jacksonville, Florida, and he is not with us just yet. So before he arrives, I want to show you a film that he made right there in Jacksonville, Florida. And you know what? He arrived. Let's wait. But for now, let me show you something really cool in order to introduce you to his job. And here it is. Let's check it out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Bryce Howard's demo reel from 2023. We're anxiously waiting for that one from 2024. So without further ado, this is Bryce Howard. Oh, he's in this area. Okay. How you doing, Bryce? I can't hear you. Let me give you a moment. I know sometimes technology fails us. I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Maybe use the audio of your computer.
What about now?
There you go. I can hear you wholeheartedly right
Yes.
now.
I don't know.
Perfect. Oh, welcome,
It
Bryce.
was
How are
already.
you today?
What's going on, Rose?
Everything's great. Everything's great. I'm really happy to have you here. Finally, I've always been trying to give you like an interview, and I'm
Mhm.
just happy it was right now that it's live and it's not in writing in the website, which is still good, but at the same time, I can connect better with you right here. So, that being said, if you know me, I go straight to the point all the time. And I know you
Yeah.
are working on Pecan Park, which is your latest film production. That being said, what is Pecan Park? Talk to us about it.
So there, if you there was a short film that I did. Um, I think it was in 2020. It was during the lockdown. It was a short film I did called "The Prodigal Son," and that was based on a the parable from the Bible. I think it's Luke 21 about the prodigal son. That's why I call it the prodigal son, obviously. And there came a time after I finished Traders, I was debating on what I wanted to shoot next, and I was bouncing a few ideas around. I had the body, I was going to do that. That's another short film that I was going to make into a feature length. And then some of my other shorts, those ideas, I was going to take them and flesh them out and make them into a full movie. But I just thought to myself, how can I improve after Traders, and what can I do better? So I went and I said, okay, the movies that people, my short films that people said were the best were The Prodigal Son and I believe Devil's Finest, and then a couple other ones. But I do remember everybody pretty much like Prodigal Son. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take that. And it was a 20-minute short film. And I was like, I'm going to make that into a 2-hour movie. So I made it, but I made it based on that. So there are some lines that you'll hear sprinkled out that was from that original short, but the idea kind of leveled up because with the original story of the prodigal son in the Bible is the idea came because I was reading that parable and I thought to myself, what did this son do that he had to come back to his dad? And I started thinking about real life, how people have to return to their parents like in their late 20s, early 30s, because life just didn't go the way, whatever. And I started thinking, well, if this is in the Bible, then whatever that guy did when he came back, it was to the point where his dad wanted to throw a party for his return. So it's kind of like one of those, I was reading between the lines of, you can see a cause and effect. Like, okay, look at modern times. If a person threw a party for somebody that's returning, that's usually because they went to prison or something. And if they went to
Yeah,
prison,
like
something extreme happened.
something really chaotic happening.
Exactly. And that's where my mind was when I was reading. I was thinking, dang, this dude's dad was a king and he wanted to throw he wanted to throw a party for his son's return, which means that his son's absence was even bigger than the return party of whatever his son might have been going through. So then, of course, I wanted it to be modern. I wanted it to be modern. So I just came up with a story of a guy and it's loosely based on me, my brother, and then other people I've met in my life. And I kind of made it all into a sort of a gumbo of a story. So there's moments in there that might be from a specific memory I have of someone, maybe a female, a male, or something. So a lot of this stuff is very personal and funny to me, although names have been changed to protect the innocent and
And
blah,
the,
blah, blah.
and the stories have been slightly altered.
Yeah, exactly. Some things have been slightly altered. Some of them are right on the money. It just depends on what we're talking about. But that's what I came up with for the whole story. Now, the name Pecan Park, since you asked, where that came from was, why did I change it from Prodigal Son to Pecan Park? For two reasons. One, there were too many other Prodigal Sons. If you actually go on IMDb and type in Prodigal Son, you'll probably come with about 50, 60 movies from television. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I cannot use that name again. It's too generic. It'd be too hard. And then it would be too hard for people to find my version. So I needed to come up with a name that was unique. And one day I was driving 95 North past the Pecan Park exit because I was actually working on a film set in Fernandina, I believe, for Greek Mothers Never Die. I was the lighting gaffer. And I was having to drive to Fernandina every day past the Pecan Park exit. And one day I just drove back. I drove by the exit and I said, Pecan Park, what a catchy phrase. And then I
It
said,
is catchy. That's for
yeah.
sure. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and I said, I think I'm gonna use that. So then I went on my phone and looked up, was there another movie with that name? The answer was no. So I was like, I'm gonna make that's gonna be the name of my movie. Now the name has nothing to do with any deep esoteric, other than like
Do they
pecans.
live in Pecan Park, near Pecan Park? Is that where
No,
they
nothing,
meet?
nothing in the movie was even shot near Pecan
That
Park.
is funny.
Yeah, everything else was shot like mostly on the south side, Arlington, a few other places downtown, but nothing was shot within like a mile or two radius of Pecan Park Road. None of it. But I was also thinking Pecan Park could also be a word that play on other things, because I thought about black people's skin complexion is about the complexion of a pecan. And so I was tying it in that way, because unlike Traders, when I made Traders, a lot of people said when I made Traders, they said, if I didn't know you, Bryce, I would think a white guy made this. So,
Really?
so Traders, like a predominantly white cast, et cetera, et cetera. But this movie is the other way around. It's predominantly black cast with supporting roles and stuff like that. But the name was catchy. There's no other name like it that I could find, and that's why I chose that name. And that's what the movie is about. It's basically the story of the prodigal son, the son returning, but the stuff he gets into is what's interesting.
More in detail.
Yeah. The stuff he gets into is where it gets interesting, because he meets this chick that gets him on drugs and all this other stuff, and then I have a couple comedic moments in there, because I wanted it to. I was thinking about Forrest Gump and how that movie is a nice melting pot of different moods. Different moods, because like 1 minute he's in Vietnam, and he's at the Black Panther Party, then he's at the Millionaire March, then he's marching around the world, then he's playing ping pong, then he's shrimping boats, and it's all these different moves that all work together to make this one big story that takes you through all these different tones. So Pecan Park, in some way, it's not Forrest Gump, but in some way I wanted to explore that. I wanted to be able to have different moments that are kind of different from each other.
So that being said, I want to tell you, your video quality, it's not even about the quality, it's just the amount of detail you put in the image, in the picture. It looks so attractive, and the fact that you do music engineering as well helps, because you know what type of music can go with the beat of this video that you just made. So yeah. I actually love watching your demo reels. I love it entirely. That being said, we talked a little bit, like you just expressed, about going to Arlington, South Side, and stuff like that. How difficult was for you to find the settings for this film? I mean, for the scenes?
Well, logistics is always a difficult part of film, especially when you're doing a low budget, no budget kind of thing, where you're spending minimal money. I mean, it's maximum to me, but it's minimal compared to like, a major motion picture. Exactly. But I had a lot of help from, shout out to Paul and Sheila. Those two were my two production managers I used, and pretty much in a nutshell, I could call them and be like, hey, I need a car lot, or I need a restaurant, and Sheila and Paul, they would work and find whatever it is I'm looking for, and they come back with information and be like, hey, this person says they can shoot there for this much, or this person says you can shoot there for free, or this person says you can shoot there if you make them commercial, or whatever they can negotiate, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of those locations are thanks to those two in particular, to Sheila Early and Paul Grunter. I don't know if I said his last name right.
Well, thank you to the both of them. Now let's go to our second question. What is your favorite part of this idea, Pecan Park?
Of this idea? By idea, do you mean movie?
Of course, yeah. It started as an idea when you started reading the verse in the Bible that gave you that.
Oh, that gave me the idea for it.
What is your favorite part of this idea?
I think what I like, I guess what you're asking me, what do I like about my own movie?
Right. Yeah. What's your favorite about it? It's something that really stays with you, that you're like, I'm really proud I made this film because this is what it's portraying, and this is my favorite part. Something like that. Give us something.
I think that my favorite part is, or my favorite aspect of the movie itself, is the journey of the two brothers they both are going through things in the movies, but one of the points I really trying to make in the movie was you don't know what a person's going through, and I was really trying to be very logical in the character's decision making because when the guy that's robbing the bank, it makes sense to him. You know, you might talk to him on an interview and be like, "Why did you rob that bank?" He's like, "Because I was broke." You see what I mean? Like, it makes sense to him. So I tried to make sure with the characters that the decisions that they were making made sense from their worldview, because life is like that. You see other people making decisions and getting into situations and things like that, and from your perspective, you might be like, "Well, that seems silly. Why would you do that?" Or "That's dumb," or "Who would do that?" But from their perspective, it was the only way. So I tried to really put that in there. I'm not gonna give too many plot details, but I really tried to put that in there as a heavy element, and I like that a lot because it's more of a commentary on life itself, human behavior, decisions, and the things that people get into, as well as our perspectives of each other while we're experiencing our own lives.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you that it's perfectly said. Now, when it comes to Pecan Park, because I know
Mhm.
it's derived from the Prodigal Son, do you give me permission to play the Prodigal Son after this interview?
Absolutely, it's on YouTube.
Okay,
It's on Broadway.
perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
that being said, let's go to our next question. Question number 3: how did you conducted your casting process?
Sheila was a big part in the casting. She helped me with the casting. I made the final say so, but me and Sheila are on the same page. So if there was an actor we saw, 9 times out of 10, we were in complete agreement. Like, that ain't it, or yes, like she knows. Like, she was she did a lot of the communication for me. So I put up the posts, on the different on the film bar, my page, and wherever else, and my Instagram and all this other stuff. And then people started flooding in, and Sheila managed it. She kept folders for me of all the videos, etc. And a lot of times, if I got a call from her and she was like, it was just the way she said it. Bryce, I got that interview from that one person, so and I already knew by the way she said it. Then that ain't it. But then some people she would be like, Bryce, you need to go check out this person now. They just sent in their audition. So then she sent me the link. I go straight to them and be like, yes or no. But that's how it went. There are a few castings I wanted differently, but time and availability to all the actors, it just didn't work out. So I ended up
Yeah,
picking other people who.
over there.
One. I guess one prominent thing I should say is Jeff Edwards. There was actually another guy I was trying to get over that lives in Tallahassee. He's really good. And Jeff, it was his first time though. The other guy has been in tons of stuff, and he's really, really good. And Jeff was my second choice, but the other guy was not available because he had got cast for something else, other production. So I went with Jeff. And at first, in the first couple of takes we did, I was trying to get Jeff to be this other person. But then at one point, I just let him do his thing. And I liked it so much that Jeff pretty much took over the character and put his spin on it. So I learned a little bit as a director about how to get the best out of people. But I also really like what the element that Jeff brought to where for a guy that's never led a feature-length film, he's doing a great job carrying the movie on his shoulders.
That is very nice to hear because there's a lot of professionals that look at actors and they are I don't want to say in a negative way, but they're tunnel vision to what they want to see. And they lack the ability to set the character free and see what it can bring to the table.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm really glad that you was open to that and you was able to experiment what this actor that you considered wasn't as good as the one you really wanted, but then when you just let it be, it just surprised you because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that faith.
Now I wouldn't say he's not as good. He didn't have the experience. Like I said, yeah, he didn't have the experience. The other guy was tried and true. I could see his content. He had dozens of movies and stuff, and Jeff had never done anything. But I did know Jeff from a few years back personally, and I knew he was charismatic in real life. I knew he had a charisma to him. So I was like, okay, that's what kind of like gave me a foundation to choose and be like, well, I know you're charismatic in real life. I just got to get that on camera.
Exactly. Okay.
And then so once we got that on camera, and then Jeff started to really understand the character and where it was going. And then since me and Jeff were around the same age, I didn't have to do a lot of explaining about the thought process of the character.
And I'll be honest with you, I worked with you before. You're an extraordinary director. And the way you manage to guide us in the right direction when it comes to our acting to portray your character, it's exquisite. So I appreciate you for that. I know you're funny. You start making jokes about it and get us in it to the point that you engage us in entirely. Like you got us locked in. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. That shows a lot of ethic and professionalism. So let's go to our fourth question. Our fourth question is, what has been the most challenging event you've been through so far while filming Pecan Park?
The challenging punctuality with the actors and logistics. Those two things right there, nightmares. They can be nightmares. Sometimes everybody shows up on time, everything goes fine. And then other times I might have a hard time finding a location, or I might get for example, I shot a scene at Green Papaya out in Orange Park. Really nice restaurant. If you guys ever been there, have these lights. It's kind of an Asian based dishes or whatever. And they let us shoot there. And but I wasn't able and it was a wedding proposal scene. And but I ended up needing to shoot a little bit more. And when I reached back out to them, they just flat out said no. So I was stuck with whatever I had. So I actually had to scratch all that from the movie and pick a different location. So I had to find a totally different restaurant to shoot at or whatever. And it was nothing personal. It was just business. They have their reasons. I have mine.
I get it. Now, when it comes to that, because that's very important, when it comes to casting and location settings, stuff like that, what is an advice that you would give upcoming filmmakers? Let's say they have no budget whatsoever.
Oh, they're trying to get locations?
Yeah.
Just go ask. You'll be surprised at the amount of people that'll just let you shoot there. Just ask. You'll be very surprised because there's a lot of places you can just walk up to, and the more mom and pop they are, the more likely they'll say yes. The more corporate they are, the more likely you'll have to go through emails, and they'll ask you if you have filming insurance and all this other stuff. But I'm from the hood, and that's how shit goes. I'd rather try to go with the guaranteed, and I'd rather go with the guaranteed and ask somebody that I think is going to say yes. And I think another thing too is don't play your production up too high. So, like for example, if you go to them and you're trying to get their location to use it, and you're on a low budget, no budget, don't go in there saying you're this big production company and it's going to be on, because then they're going to think you have money, and then they're going to say, okay, well, $5,000 you can shoot here, or $2,500 you can shoot here. But what you want to do is you want to downplay it, like I'm just a local person. You could even say it's for school or something to get, because then they're not going to even come at you like that. So.
Because at the end of the day, you aren't necessarily lying. For example, at some point I had to look for a setting, and I said that I was a student, and they were okay. And most of my cast were students. I was not a student, but they were. So I was like, okay, it played out well at the end of the day. That's perfect.
Exactly. So sometimes it's definitely when you know it's low budget, no budgets, you're gonna have to do what you need to do. And then, of course, a lot of times, you give them credit or put their company logo in there in the movie or whatever. They'll be fine, or whatever the case might be. I know we shot at Wolf. Don't give me the line. I forgot. It's Wolf Street or something downtown. It's a boutique. They let us shoot there. Of course, the Cigar Lounge on St. John's Bluff. I'm trying to remember the name of it. They let us shoot a couple times. Actually, I got shot there 3 or 4 times. For different scenes. One scene I didn't even use, I deleted it from the movie. But I'm trying to think of all the locations and then people's houses and whatnot. Because a special thank to Josh Newkirk. He let me use his house for all the main scenes, the main family house. So
thank you so much.
He even let us shoot there when he's out at work. I mean, granted, he's a police officer, but nevertheless.
We're talking about Josh. I know Josh.
Yeah, Josh. So he lets us use his spot for the main character thing, and we go in there and shoot for hours, 8, 6, 12, 6, 8, 10 hours a day. and really knock out a lot of the footage or whatever. So definitely a big special thanks to him as far as locations. All the other locations I think were like things that were free. Excuse me. And then and then you got driving around town just doing B-roll. So sometimes on my days off or days where I have time, I'll just load up the camera in the trunk already attached on the sticks and pull it out and go to a spot where I see maybe I want to shoot some stuff, and I'll just add in some B-roll. I'll shoot some B-roll of different locations so that I can have transition scenes to go from scene to scene in the movie.
That's good though, because there's some people that take days to do it, but you literally said, I'm just gonna wait until I'm like free and not doing anything, and I'm just gonna drive around and I'll just get it right there. So you're just chilling and at the same time working, but it doesn't feel like working because you're doing something that you love, and at the same time, you're really just chilling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then it's time consuming.
Well, that being said, let's go to this question right here. What is question number 5? What is the message that you're trying to convey to the masses with this film? Now, I know you told us a little bit about the quote that you saw, the verse in the Bible that made you think about that. Let's go a little bit into that. Go a little more into detail with that. Tell us, what is that message that you're trying to convey, and why it's important for you?
With this film, that people are different and they get treated differently according to who they are and where they are and what they are. No two snowflakes are alike, kind of thing. So I don't think that, I mean, I guess at least in my understanding of life at this point, every individual can't necessarily get treated the same way because they're not going to react to what's being said the same way. So like, let's say you have the same trainer, you have two people. One person may receive information better from that trainer and it's just better for them, whereas they could be in a totally different situation with a different trainer and it'd be the exact opposite. So I think that in this scenario, the dad, the way he went about doing things with one son, the way he went about doing things with another son, while they might seem like polar opposites and maybe harsh to one and lenient to the other, you have to think that the dad is gauging what he needs to do for each one to succeed. So some people that are very competent and have a lot of ability and can solve problems on their own, people might be more harsh on them because they know, they can see that you got it. But then there's other people in life that don't have it and they need extra help. And sometimes observing those people from the outside in is like, well, how are they getting all the help? How are they getting all of these freebies and da da da? But the reality is they would have probably blew their brains out if they lived in your shoes because it'd have been an information overload.
Right. Right. Like that is very important. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So that's a general message that's coming across, or at least that I'm trying to convey in there, is that that we're all trying to get to the finish line, but we might take different paths to get there.
Yeah, that reminds me a post I saw a few days ago. There was these two, they were racing. It was a race, and this person was up front, and he thought he already passed the finish line. So he started kind of like jogging, like, okay. And then there was this other dude behind him, and like was like, hey, yo, keep going. But they both had different languages. So the person up front did not understand what the other one was saying. So he just ignored. He's like, hey, yo, keep going. I'm going to pass. And he did not listen. So the dude ended up pushing him to the finish line, and he won. So they asked him, hey, why did you do that? Like, you could have won. And he's like, well, what would that say about me? He already had the race won. Like, why would I just go and get it? He thought he won. He was already there. He was just like 10 steps away. I was like 30 steps away before he realized that, like, what would my mom say about me? How would that look?
And I was thinking too that
for a fact that was not my win. And
I was gonna say, yeah.
A much rich human being when it comes to that quality of compassion and humility. So I'm glad that somehow it's the same message. It's like, hey, I know you got it you're struggling a little bit, but you got it. You got all of the resources, all of the answers are there for you. Now this person, they don't got it because they don't have the resources nor the knowledge. So if I am a blessing, let me be a blessing to, I mean, if I'm blessed, let me be a blessing to somebody else. So that's really rich of you. Thank you very much. Now, let's go to our question number 6, which is what's your favorite? What's your favorite? Because I know you do two. You do music and you do films. So what's your favorite? Music engineering or movie storytelling, and
Oh,
why?
movie without a doubt. Without a doubt, movies. I like making films. I like making films way more than I like music. Music, I've been doing that for almost 20 years, so it's like I can do that with my eyes closed, stuff like that. And then when you consider the fact that a lot of people are just making the same music over and over again, or they're just imitating their favorite artists, it's it's right now it's very cookie cutter. So it's like people come in and those, I got this song, it sounds like Drake. Well, I know what Drake sounds like, so I'll just make it like that, and they'll be satisfied. But the filmmaking, though, it's almost like you get an opportunity to sort of not only speak, but simultaneously exercise an art form at the same time. And I think there's something very, very satisfying about the film coming together and just seeing it all and then seeing it and it's good. And it's like, dang that, because all the little work that's been going on. I think Pecan Park, I started shooting in December, right before the Christmas break and all that.
Yeah,
I
it
think
feels like you end up impressing yourself, and then you're like, oh, right, you can do that. Good job.
yeah, I get a lot. You know what? I'd be lying if I said there wasn't an element of pat yourself on the back somewhere in the midst there when you put
I
something.
know you. I'm pretty sure you do it.
Yeah.
But
So
hey, it's
well,
all deserved to see. Oh, hey, what Caesar? Give to Caesar what Caesar's. That's it. That's what it is.
I think that it's no different from a painter painting a painting and then stepping back and being like, dang, I like this, even though it's their painting. Dang, I like this.
I
So
impressed myself.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, I think there's a level of, and I do think it's healthy to have a healthy level of self-assessment, because if you can't say that you like your own stuff, I feel like you're gonna live in a constant state of misery.
It's important to have that, at least that little amount of pride in your work.
Yeah,
Not a pride that is selfish and self-boasting, but more about I did this. I'm capable of doing this and more. Wow.
exactly. And I
That's
and I and I think that pride sometimes is the driving force to make it good, because everybody's watching, everybody's looking, everybody's gonna talk their trash, everybody's gonna blah blah blah, and the internet is undefeated. So you want to make sure. So it kind of, but that stuff drives you to
there's a
really
little bit of
like,
everything
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. So I like that.
Well, that being said, because you answered movie storytelling, what is your favorite camera to record in
That I own personally or that I've ever used.
that you have record in? What's your favorite?
I'm gonna have to go with see, by default I want to say an Ari Alexa, but I mean it's just the best camera. It's just the best digital camera, that is.
Okay.
Because
Well, that
film.
being said, what is a camera that you would advise a low budget first time filmmaker to still bring almost the same results as the Ari or an Alexa, but not quite, obviously, because it's not the same budget, but still, it's kind of similar when it comes to the
Well, I
picture.
think the first thing I would tell them is get it out your head that it's going to be looking like an Ari, because it's not. That would be like me telling somebody that's going to go buy a Honda that I want you to imagine a Ferrari. It ain't going to happen. Let's just have a Honda conversation and leave it there. We can talk about Ferraris later when you make it big. But I think that that really depends on their budget. That really depends on their budget. And are you really trying to do film, or are you trying to do hybrid shooting? Are you trying to do photos, film, music videos, or are you really just focused on film? If you focus on film, I would say get a compact cinema camera, such as a FS5, FS7, FX9, FX or C100, something like that. A compact cinema camera. That's more geared towards movies. It's got the movie look. But if you're trying to if you're a hybrid shooter and you want to shoot uh, social media content, music videos, you want to maybe do some photo, then you might want to get a high end DSLR like an A7 IV or R7 or something like that, or Canon, 8D or something.
But ultimately, Ari and Alexa are your favorites.
Ari is the company. Alexa is the camera.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay,
Ari
now,
it's my favorite camera. Well, I want to answer that in two ways. I don't own an Ari because those cameras are like about $80,000 to $120,000. That's more of a dream camera. Whereas my camera that I actually like to use, that's more practical, that I can get a hold of easily, I would say it would be my one I'm shooting Pecan Park with, which is a Sony FS7. This is
ooh, yeah, I did saw a picture of you. You uploaded a picture of the
That's
camera.
my go-to camera because at one time I had four, and I would always use that one, and the other ones would just collect dust. I ended up selling the camera because I never used it. It worked perfectly fine. I just sold it, and I think my Black Magic, I got an Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K. I'd rather use the Sony. It's got a look to it that I like. Because different camera sensors and the computer inside, it produces a different picture. Like the feel and the look of the picture is different.
Yeah, one of the reasons I ask you this question is because I know you personally, and I know that you are a camera enthusiast when it comes to filming. So I wanted all of that people that will see this interview to get a little more in the known of the best camera qualities for their films.
Gotcha.
So with that being said, let's go to question number 8. Question number 8 is, what is something you wish you knew before you started making films?
I get probably more information about the business side, because then it would have changed how I went about making the film. I think that I would have probably had more of a plan. So what ended up happening is, as I'm shooting all these short films, people are liking them. And then at some point I end up realizing these short films take a lot of time and blah blah blah. But I'm like, I don't make any money off of them. They're just for showcase and portfolio work. But that's what prompted me to shoot Traders. Is that I said I need to make sure that my efforts are actually that have the potential to make some kind of return on the investment. So I did Traders, got it on the streaming platforms, everything, blah blah blah. I did make a little bit of money off of that. Then now I'm working on Pecan Park, but I'm more structured in my business plan of what I plan on doing it. So like with Pecan Park, I do plan on having a movie premiere at the theater, with the red carpet, all that. Then because I didn't have that for Traders, but I did have some cool stuff for Traders. For Traders, I had Erica went on the news. What else did we do for Traders? We went to the baseball game. Erica threw the first pitch for the Jacksonville Shrimp. And then there was a couple of other things we did, advertisements and stuff. But Pecan Park, I want to do that plus more and have like a full campaign launch, and then have a marketing campaign to keep people streaming the movie or whatever, so I can get a nice ROI. So I would say the business aspect of how is this movie gonna make money. So if I could go back in time and talk to myself, I would sit down and be like, all right, look, you already know what your skill set is. How are you going to make money off of this? Because otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. And I'm not going to lie, there was a time a couple years ago where I sat back and looked at all the other filmmakers, local filmmakers and everything, and I realized everybody's just making movies to make movies. Well, who's making the money?
There's a lot like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So exactly. So then my whole focus changed. That's why I haven't done a short film in like 2 years, because I've been doing these feature-length films.
Yeah, something, a quality I love about you is that this is not the first time I hear you say something like, when I do a job, after I finish it, I ask myself, how can I upgrade this? How can I do better? How can I perfect my picture from this one to something better that engages more? That's something that a lot of people don't do, because like you just said, some people just make films to make films. And not really for the message and the impact that it can cause, and not just to the people and the masses, but also to you as a personal human being. You got to pay the bills as well. I appreciate that from you, and I think that's something that every filmmaker that watches this interview can actually absorb and really sit down and think about it, because It's a very important question. It's not just for you to learn how to make money, but it's also to reassess your own vision and what you want to do with your art. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for that. Now, let's go to our question number 9. Our question number 9 is, what is an advice you'd give to upcoming filmmakers and to experienced filmmakers?
I got to give advice to experienced
One,
filmmakers.
you can give me one for upcoming ones, and you can give me another one for experienced ones, because you're already experienced. You've been this in this game for a few years. So tell us, what is an advice that you would give to inexperienced ones, and then another advice that you would give to experienced filmmakers.
Experienced filmmakers, I probably wouldn't give them any advice if they're not asking because they're experienced. So like, I feel like an experienced person, they're, you know what I mean? They have, I would respect their experience. You know what I mean? Like if I met a guy and he was like, I've been DPing for 20 years, what am I going to tell him?
Well,
That's how I would look at it.
They're gonna be like, sir, again, 20 years.
Well, okay, let's say for example, I met a guy, which his ass happened. Let's say I met a guy and he's been shooting for 10 or 15 years, and but let's say my stuff clearly looks better than his, right? Because I've only been shooting about 5, and so I feel like now you're dealing with a people thing, because you could offend that person by even pointing anything out. And if they're not coming to you asking for the information, you know, I can hear their silence loud and clear. You know what I mean? Like, let me just leave that alone, because, you know, unsolicited advice, you know how that goes. It's like, well, you're not asking, and then, you know, egos get in the way and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's just, you know, better just leave it alone, because it's like, oh, you know, you doing your thing, I'm doing mine, whatever.
Yeah, some people have to understand that silence sometimes is also a answer.
Yes, exactly. So if they're not asking me, it's probably a reason why they're not asking me. Especially if it's obvious. Like if it's obvious, like, dang, you did that a lot better than me. They're not asking, then you kind of already know where they're coming from. But as far as an inexperienced person, similar rules apply. I try not to give advice to people that aren't looking for advice, because it can be offensive. Especially if, and this is in any aspect of life, if you're talented, or if you're the prettier person, or if you're the more well-spoken, or you're better with people, people that are not where you're at with it, you have to be very meticulous about how you deal with them, because they could take everything as you're being arrogant, you're being conceited, you're being blah, blah, blah. So I try to be very scrupulous and selective about what I'm saying to who. And a lot of times I just read the room. If you're not asking and da-da-da-da, then, you know what I mean, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna bother you about it.
You have the code switch. Code switch.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Well, just put yourself in shoes. Let's say, you know, you met a young lady or something, and she was trying to do a platform podcast thing like this, and she sees what you're doing, but she refuses to ask you anything.
I feel that's stubborn.
A lot of people like that.
You know, I may be on her side depending on where she's coming from. For example, if she is coming from a artistic environment where people are bickering at each other all the time, then she may think that by asking me for questions, I may start making fun of her, or that I would just ignore her, and she just wants to save herself that disappointment. Now, if she is in a very encouraging artistic environment, I know that if she asks me a question, she will expect me to give her a nice advice, and maybe on the side, maybe slide a little bit of help or assistance if that's possible. But if not, you know, it all depends on the artistic environment you have around you. That's just my take on it, because I've been in both. I've been in the position where I want to ask a question, but I've seen some characteristics from this person that it's holding me down when it comes to asking that certain question. And then I've seen these people that are very open and very welcoming, and I'm like, okay, let me ask the question to this person, because they seem like they're really happy to actually see others win. So I guess it all depends, and also depends on their own mindset as well, because
exactly,
good in a good artistic environment, and you will be the one that bickers at people. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where they can bicker at you because you are like that, you know? So I guess it all depends on the mindset. But I do agree with that.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they might be unaware of how unteachable they are. That's a whole another conversation because I've had people get frustrated with me, and because they'll say, "Oh well, you're not showing me anything," or whatever the case might be. I might be like, "Well, I'm telling you, you just don't like my answers because you think there's a shortcut. You think there's another way to do what I'm saying you should do." Like they'll be like, "How do I get my cinematography better?" I said, "You got to go out there and practice and constant self evaluation, and then what they call it in the scientific community, peer review. You have to send it to your peers, and you have to be conscious of who you're sending it to. Because if you're surrounded by a bunch of yes men that are just going to say, 'Oh, that's great, that's great,' you're not going to make any improvement. But that person that you might be scared of their opinion, what you're scared of is the truth. But once you learn how to overcome that, and you're like, well, if I know this, because then you could turn it into a contest in your mind. Like, if I can get this one person that always has something negative to say something positive, I know I'm onto something. Because all these other 100 people are going to say it's great, and really is just a bag of smashed assholes. So you can take certain personalities and use them to your advantage if you're humble enough and learn and grow. And that was on my way up. It was like that. There were people that absolutely hated me, and they would be the same people I would ask, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I knew they were a hater, and I knew if you could shut up the haters, then you're going somewhere with it. Or if they just got that dumb look on their face, like, "Oh, you did that?"
No, listen, I read this post of a dude that said, if video games showed me something, is that if you encounter a lot of enemies, is because you're going in the right track.
Huh, that makes sense.
Right?
I started thinking of
wow, gems.
that made me think of Halo. It's like if you get lost, then when you start seeing enemies, now you know you're headed in the right direction.
Exactly. So there you go. That's a little advice for life. Now that being said, let's go to our last question. Our last question is, where can we find Pecan Park once it's completed?
Oh, it's gonna be on all our streaming platforms. Amazon, Tubi, Freebie, stuff like that. I mean the regular stuff. This time around though, I do believe I'm going to be able to get it on Apple TV. Because I did just get a new connection to there and a couple of other platforms. But it's going to be on pretty much. It's going to be on one of those streaming platforms you got. But maybe not Netflix, because Netflix.
Regardless.
Netflix is very hard to get on. That'd have to be like a direct connect kind of thing. But other than that, I'm pretty much regular streaming platform.
If anything, I'm gonna tell you that separately. But I may be able to help you with that one. Now, that being said, since you already answered that, I have our artistic advice segment. So I know you gave us a little bit of advice about filmmakers and experience, but now artistic advice when it comes to, in general, to every artist, not just filmmakers, but actors, musicians. What is something that you think would be very important for them to know?
Introspection. I think a constant working on yourself, not only as a human being, as an everyday person, but on your own body of work. You have to keep learning and keep exploring how you can do things better. And then I think too, like for example, right, as long as there's a Spielberg or a James Cameron or a Christopher Nolan or somebody out there, I got work to do because I'm not shooting stuff on their level. So that I know for a fact there's gaps, and I have to work on how do I get my visual to be from here to there? How do I get my storytelling? How do you know what I mean? How can I get? As long as those people exist, I know that I sort of have a markers that kind of help me let me know where I'm at in my journey. Now, some of those guys, the only thing difference between me and them is the budget. They just got the money and the resources to do.
Obviously.
But then other elements, the intangibles that don't involve the budget, such as storytelling, some of them are really good at and really impact. Like obviously Spielberg is really good at telling a very tight story that doesn't have a lot of fat in it. It just gets to the point, but it's good. And then like somebody like Robert Zemeckis, he's really good at movies that have a lot of heart or are very lighthearted. Like because he did Back to the Future trilogy, he did Forrest
All
Gump,
right.
he did Flight with Denzel Washington. So his movies always have this
That movie
lightheartedness.
was fire.
Yeah, so Robert Zemeckis he's definitely in my top 5 directors. Just his style. He did Who Framed Roger Rabbit too, and a couple of other movies. But and then you got different styles. So I try to incorporate different styles because what's that guy name? Who did the first Alien movie? Ridley Scott. He has a certain style. Then you have like I said, what I call is that Spielberg magic, where all his movies tend to be very family oriented. Because my kids were watching the original Jurassic Park a couple months back, and they were just glued to the screen the whole time.
Right. I think that is a classic. I mean, I think that's where the classic label comes from. Like it's classic because it's timeless. It doesn't matter in which time
Yeah, it was just that good.
you are. It's still a very engaging film.
Exactly. And Spielberg, that's he can make movies like that to where like you're just going to be locked in. And he's really good at telling stories on the level of a small child and an adult at the same time.
That's
So
true.
there's enough there for both to be entertained. That's why he has so many blockbusters that were for general audiences. He was like the king of that. You know what I mean?
You know who that reminds me, somebody said something about Michael B. Jordan because he had his first film director with Creed 3.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh my gosh, he's first. And I was like, but hey, look at it this way. He wait till he got his money, right? And then he put in all the resources that he had to be able to make that magic. That is not something that happens with all filmmakers because everybody starts, from somewhere. But but he started as an actor and he did all of this stuff and he got his money right. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to do what I wanted to do. I want to direct this film. And his film movie debut was awesome. So kudos for him. But at the same time, I tell every filmmaker out there, don't expect that your first film is going to be like a blast, is gonna be, oh my gosh, obsessed, da.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it happens to them because they have the resources. That doesn't mean that you can do it. That just means that you got to put more work in it and more, how do you say that word? More dedication. If you don't have the resources, put more work and more dedication in it.
I agree. And you're gonna learn a lot from your first, because even let's take Steven Spielberg, for example. Most people don't even know his first movie. It was about that truck. I can't think of it. It's like Tool or Fuel or something like that. It's about a truck. Very simple concept. And then also too, some people just get lucky. Like in James Cameron's instance, I think his first film was Terminator, the first Terminator.
That was Cameron's first.
That was the first 2 Terminators were his, but that was his first movie. He had partially directed Piranha 2, but that was because the regular director got fired in the middle of the movie, and so they just put him in the position, and not even for the rest of the movie, he got fired too, and they got some other guy. So you know what I mean? That movie was just a mess all around, production nightmare. But
that's what I was about to say. I mean, that movie must have been a mess then.
Oh yeah, if you're going through like 3 directors, whatever. But no, his first movie, like all the way through and through, was Terminator. And I think he said the budget was like 14 or 15 million. Not everybody gets that opportunity to get 14 million, $15 million for their first movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. So. And then, of course, after that, it was over. It was history after that. But, my first movie, Traders, I just shot it out of my pocket money.
That's one of the things that I admire about you. You see a vision, you believe it because you put the work in it and the dedication in it, and you put all your trust in in your skills.
Mm-hmm.
It's something a lot of artists don't have. They lack it. I think it's because of the lack of preparation. So That's
I can see
something
that.
I think every filmmaker that watches this interview can learn from you. It's not just the skill set, but also the sitting down and assess yourself all the time and see what can you do better and what can you improve in. So
Yeah,
thank you for
exactly.
that. Thank you for all those gems. Now let's go to our free art speech. We have free speech, but right here we have free art speech. So this is your moment. This is your panel right now. So whatever you want to tell to the audience, go ahead and spill the beans
About what?
about whatever, about your job, your next project after Pecan Park, whatever.
Oh, I don't have anything. Well, there's some stuff on the table, but it's not my personal movies. It's I might be getting hired to shoot some other movie stuff or whatever the case might be. But that's closer to around the summertime or what have you. I actually have to go meet with I think a school or something today because they wanted me to teach um, I guess some kind of master class about something in film or something. So I think that's at 1 today after I finish this. So I have to go do that, but I think it's for kids or something. Don't get me the line. I think it's for kids for a summer program or something like that or some kind of school. But that's where I'm going because they're gonna do me a walkthrough and explain everything.
But you better than anybody knows that children are the future.
Allegedly.
And if you can put, let's keep it PG-13. So, if you have the opportunity to be in front of a crowd of children that have a super open creativity, because their creativity is way much bigger than ours, the adults. If you have that opportunity, oh my gosh, exploit it in all the good ways, of course. Because it's fantastic. I know you have children, and I know that your children love seeing you do whatever you love to do, and I know that when they grow up, they will absorb that from you. Like, I want to do something that makes me happy and makes me feel like I'm not working, just like my dad. So kudos on that. And now that you have this opportunity to teach that little class for little individuals, use it to the best of its ability. Use it
Yeah,
because it's hey, that's what we do here. We dare to inspire. So go ahead and dare to inspire that day.
yeah. I look forward to it. I've done some teaching. I've done some one-on-one, some personal teaching with people. But I think what ends up a lot of times happening with that, with the personal teaching and stuff, is that um, people just have their own. People have ideas in their head that might be uh, in competition with what I'm telling them, and so I think for sometimes a lot of times they could get more out of what I'm saying, but they already got this idea in their head. I've even noticed that sometimes when people ask me, they'll ask me to critique their stuff, and they're spending so much time trying to just brace for impact that they're not even thinking about what I'm saying.
Hmm.
They'll be so worried about being offended or the conversation going left, and it's like, look, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to tell you the truth about what I think should improve if there's something that needs to be improved. Or
Exactly.
if I
Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand.
that's exactly what I'm saying, exactly. And so they're kind of more ready to respond or whatever rather than, oh, okay, I see what you're saying or whatever. There was a gentleman, I want to say about a month ago, if I'm don't give me the line, but maybe about a month ago, I was looking at something of his and it looked good visually. The shots were great, stuff like that. But when it was over, I said, what was it about? Because it was a little nonsensical. It didn't make sense from a storytelling standpoint. I was like, what? I just saw a bunch of good looking shots and some music. But I don't feel like I walked away with anything. I saw, and in my opinion,
Hmm.
movies are just teaching lessons. Because the best movies always have morals to them, always have a moral point. And if you think about it, just about any movie is trying to reach a moral point at some point. And
Thank
so,
you. Thank you for that point because that's something that I can stress enough. People ask me sometimes, "Hey, how can I get because I have a fee for submissions into my platform, but they ask me like, "Oh, can I just submit anything? He's like, well, not really. We have guidelines. Like, we want to see what you are putting out to the masses. We don't just want to put out more garbage and with
Yeah,
no not trying
structure.
to offend anybody's work. But like, if you have the gift to tell a story through a screen, make sure that what you're spreading into the masses counts for good, because there's
Yeah,
already a lot of bad. So even if your film has a lot of bad, make it end in something good, something that has a moral point that
yeah,
somebody can carry with them. That's what makes a movie memorable, in my opinion.
exactly. And it's even better when you can mask it in a way to where they don't recognize it till the very end. For example, right? Let's take Jurassic Park, right? That was a movie about family, but it seemed like a movie about dinosaurs. But it was really a
True.
movie. But it was a movie about family because if you remember, the two paleontologists, the Grant and I forgot the other lady's name, Ellie or whatever it is. They were in a relationship and they didn't have kids. And then they go to the park and those two kids, the park owner's grandkids are there, and they end up in a scenario where they have to save the kids and stuff like that. Even Spielberg did something real cool because at the beginning, Grant had a velociraptor claw in his hand, and he was explaining something to that chubby kid at the tourist thing, and he acted like he slashed his gut with it. He was kind of being mean towards the child. But there was a point later in the movie where he drops that they were all in the tree. Him and the
Yeah.
boy and the girl were in the tree, and he throws that down on the ground. It was symbolic of him loosening up with the children and not being so harsh toward them, and acceptance. It was a sort of a mnemonic, like a subconscious thing, to show that there was a connection there now in the tree. Of course, a family tree. Spielberg. They think about stuff like that when they put
Yeah,
this movie
that's
together.
that's symbolic
Um,
for sure. That's
yeah,
symbolic for
yeah.
sure.
And then
Now,
so that's I think they call that concept found family, where which James Cameron did that too in Terminator. Terminator wasn't really about Terminators. The first one was a love story, and the second one was a story about family.
oh,
Even
I
though,
didn't catch on that. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah, but it just seems like it's about Terminators. Terminators is just something that's in the movie. They could have been arbitrarily changed with anything else. But if you remember, the Terminator replaced John's dad, who was dead, and then the mother in the Terminator, Sarah Connor in the Terminator, Sarah had began becoming more like a machine, and the machine was becoming more human. And somewhere in that intersection at the end, the three of them were like a family in that factory at the end. That's why it was so impactful when the Terminator had to die.
Wow. I mean, I love the way you interpret it. It's like more eye-opening. I guess it comes with the experience. You already sit down, you study the films that you do for yourself so
Mhm.
that you can convey a good message. And the fact that you sit down and actually absorb all of this to use it on your craft as well, it's really beautiful. And I'm telling you, you are already daring to inspire. So thank you very much for that. That being said, we have culminated this interview. Please go ahead and have a moment to say goodbye to the audience, and then we will present everyone with the Prodigal Son.
Okay, well, I thank everybody for watching. I thank Rose for having me on here. I think this is my first podcast interview ever. Nobody,
Really?
yeah, I think
Well,
this is
I'm honored.
my. This will go in the history books. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and I really like the questions and I like the dialogue we had and everything about movies. I could talk about movies for a long time, as you could tell, but I was trying to keep everything succinct and to the point, so I didn't drag on and on and on and stuff like that. And I would that I could give more information about Pecan Park, but I did
No, no,
intentionally
no.
hold
We
back.
don't like spoilers here. At
Yeah,
least
yeah,
I don't like them. I don't care what the audience thinks. I'm not giving them the spoilers.
gotcha. So I kind of reeled back a lot on telling too much about it because I still have to give you a reason to go for me to get your money.
Exactly.
So
And not just about that. This is not the last time we're going to talk in this live show, because I want to have you back when Pecan Park it's already completed.
oh
And I
wow.
have that beautiful trailer to show everyone. So thank you very much, Bryce, for everything. and for your contribution to the film community, to the independent film community, especially in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Well, see you next time.
All right, thanks, Rose.
Hey guys, we have come to the end of this interview, and now I am going to show you guys The Prodigal Son, directed and filmed by Bryce Howard. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoy watching it over and over again. Goodbye.
Pops, I wanted to ask you for some help since I'm about to graduate and everything.
Some help with what?
Well, you know my old car ain't been holding up too well after, you know, who wrecked it the other night. Now, I got the money for the down payment on another one, but I just need a cosigner.
Hey, I'm not helping nobody with nothing. You're just gonna have to find some other way to make that happen. I've worked a long time to get my credit back to where it's at. And I'm not just gonna mess that up for no one, especially relatives. Hey, son.
Sup, Pops? Hey, I've been meaning to get with you, man. I need some new shoes. Your boy can't be out there looking crazy.
I heard the garbage man earlier. You took care of the trash, right?
That's why I gotta get out of here as soon as I find me another job.
Well, you gotta be able to show up and be on time.
Oh, so you still worried about me not showing up to your graduation? Man, you'll be all right. Besides, man, I've been out there looking for a job, okay? But they ain't hiring nobody right now. Everybody ain't college educated, you know? Yep.
Son, come on back. I need to talk to the both of you anyway.
I'll call you back.
What is it, Pops?
Well, you both know today's a special day for me. It's the day that my father passed. And I've been thinking a lot about both of your futures. Now, since y'all have been young, I've been holding on to the inheritance that your grandfather has left. And I think that now would be a good time that you both are able to take care of yourselves and do something for yourselves.
Bet.
Wow. Thanks, Pops. You know, this couldn't come at a better time. This can cover the whole wedding, too.
Wedding?
Yeah, I don't think I told you yet, but I think I'm gonna pop the question.
Oh, look at my son becoming a man. That's what's up, about to tie the knot. All right, congratulations. Man. Son, congratulate your brother.
Thanks, Pops. Hey, you ain't gonna believe this.
Hey, come on in. Hi, son. Hey, missus.
Hi.
Where's
Ever since he got that money, he comes and goes as he pleases. Some days a week, sometimes a month. Who knows?
Must be nice. I figured he'd already have his own place by now, but
Come on, let's go eat.
yeah. So we're only gonna be in town for a week, and then we gotta fly out to Minnesota.
Hey, my son, flying all over the country. I'm impressed.
Yeah, Pops. Also, I dumped a lot of that money into the businesses.
Oh, how's that working out?
You know, most businesses don't profit in the first 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, make sure you take some of that money and you put it aside, just in case. You don't want to end up like your brother.
What do you do?
Let some of his friends talk him into starting some record label, and then they try to talk him into wanting to be some big time rapper. None of it panned out.
Damn it. I told him he needs to leave those boys in the streets alone. They ain't going nowhere. Maybe he can sell off most of that stuff to get his money back.
Bank took most of all the money and used it to recoup. You know your brother got arrested not too long ago too.
For what?
That girl that he keeps going back and forth to, well, she accused him of rape and brought up charges. I had to go bail him out. No one's seen him since.
Why does he keep messing with her? Everybody knows she's strung out on drugs. What? I mean, you don't think he's strung out on drugs too, do you?
Babe, why don't you tell him about tomorrow?
Right. Pops, I'm getting an award for my job tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, they said that my ideas were revolutionary and progressive for the company. Sales margins have been up 200% in the last 2 months. And so we were wondering if you'd like to come out to Minnesota for us for a couple of days. Everything will be on me.
I can't. Gotta take your brother to a job fair.
For real? Why can't he catch an Uber?
Babe, isn't there something else you want to tell him about?
Right. Pop, you finna be a grandpa.
Man, it's about time I got some grandbabies around here.
Now, we were wondering if you'd like to come to the doctor with us tomorrow to see what the gender was.
Can't do that either, son. I gotta go to court tomorrow for your brother.
How do you know he's gonna even show up? Man, I don't understand why you even put up with him and his foolishness for him to turn around and do something else stupid. I'm going to bed.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
doing?
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. It's just your favorite son here.
Oh,
Breaking into the house, hiding that stuff.
oh, come on. Give me some water, please.
Look, Paul.
Oh, son. Give me some water, please.
Man, I'm going to bed.
Come on, son.
Hey, man, listen.
He's gone, son. Took your grandfather's heirlooms. Took my wallet. Took the damn car. Took everything. He's gone, son. He's gone.
Maybe it's about time I confess. Compressing all the things that bring me stress. Sink or swim, waters above my head. Gasping for air, I can't catch my breath. I apologize for the lies that I told you. Wishing I could turn back time, maybe do it different.
It's my boyfriend. Go, please, head, go.
It took so long to answer the door.
What are you doing here?
You gonna let me in?
Like I said, what are you doing here?
Well, I want to take you for a ride.
So you got a car now?
Why you always got to doubt me? Hold on, let me guess. You want some money, don't you? 'Cause I got that.
So you got a car now?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, I got a ride right now. I mean, see, I don't know why you keep doubting me, man. I mean, it's like you don't want your man to win.
If you was my man, you would be here.
Surprised you ain't got a man in the house already. So, you gonna let me in?
Fake smiles in the summertime, say we feeling fine, but we all know that we are chasing after something more, chasing after something more. Got a past, can't take it back. I'm on the edge of my spec. I think I need something more, chasing after something more, chasing after something more.
Try this.
What is it?
Losing love for lust of life. One day I'ma pay that price. Ain't by days.
What's going on, Pop? Hey, son. How's it going?
It's going good.
All right.
Looks good.
Hey, I appreciate you sponsoring the cookout over at your place. You know, my air unit went out.
Yeah, no problem, man. Just make sure you add a couple zeros to my paycheck.
Sure will. Hey, you. How are you doing today?
I'm good. in.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sweetheart.
Come on in.
Okay. Oh, I forgot something in the car. I'll be right back. Hey, you know your brother gets out of halfway house today.
Oh, yeah? Has it been that long?
Yeah. Yeah, matter of fact, he'll be here any minute.
Is that what this is about? You throwing a celebration for this fool?
Oh, yeah, your brother's coming home today, man.
So we get participation trophies in your 30s now. Okay.
Everybody has their problems.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Thank you.
But if he hadn't been spoiling him the way he did, he wouldn't be in that predicament.
Hey,
No, he needs to hear this.
come on.
Let him say it.
For years, he's been screwing you over and over and over. How many more times? I mean, this ain't the first time he's been out of jail or rehab or whatever. Let me guess. He's gonna do right? Y'all gonna have a big talk about how he needs to get back on track? He's my brother. But the man is a liar, Pops. How many more times? I've been here the whole time and I can't seem to get your help or attention with anything. You never babied me like you did him. But it's okay. I get it. I understand. It made me dig deep. Okay, I never stole from you. And yet, I can't even borrow $100 because you're gonna tell me to go earn it. I understand. I get it. When are you gonna be there for me? Huh? I've been here the whole time.
You didn't need it.
I'll get it. Hey. Come on in. How are you?
Okay.
Well, they're just down there.
Hey, Pops. Hey, son. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you, son. Good to have you home.
What's up, bro?
What's up, man? You okay?
Just got out of rehab, man. So, yeah. Before you say anything, I got something for you. And I know I missed your graduation a few years back. And I never got to tell you how proud I was of your accomplishments, bro.
My boys.
Guys, that was a Prodigal Son. I've seen this film countless times, but today it was different. It was a different experience now that I've heard Bryce Howard's side of his vision of the story. Wow, it is a powerful film, and I will be sharing with you guys the most powerful scene that I consider the most powerful scene. In shot, it was beautiful, and just like Bryce said, it's symbolical. Not just the hug, but oof. I'm not going to tell you guys. I'm just going to share it with you. But that being said, I want to show you guys how can you find Bryce Howard for any inquiries for your films. If you guys need some assistance, please go ahead and find Bryce at brycetheengineer.com. This is his profile. His website. Very, very beautiful. Right here, you guys can find the rates for business commercials, professional music videos, independent film, and documentaries, wedding and ceremonies, live events, general documentaries, and all of that contact information right here for inquiries. Listen, this man, Bryce, is an absolute legend when it comes to this storytelling. It's one of those people that I really admire with their craft. And I really, really hope that you guys see all that he has to tell through the lens. So that being said, guys, this is your host, Rose Sanchez, again at PressPlay Cinema with Movie Talk. I'll see you next week, okay? Be safe. Goodbye.